What separated you from peers who didn't get as far as you did?
I think that like a love for what you're doing is very important. I think if you truly love what you're doing, I see kids pushed into sports because their parents want them to do it, or pushed into things because go and do that job because it's going to make you money, but they don't have a love for it. It's just different. It's much more clunky and hard. So I think love is the first thing. I think just being routine based. I'm very routine. I'm OCD on things. I like my organization set out like this. Like I have cleaners come clean the house and they'll move shit and I'm not losing my mind. Like hang on a second. I know this was, so I'm one of those guys, not OCD where it has to be perfect, but I've got an order about things in my brain, So I think being organized and having a routine is really important. I had that as a young fella, before school I train, go to school, after school I train, come back at home, shoot in the backyard. I just have a routine that I was just getting used to. So once you become professional, it's kind of easy. So they're probably the two biggest things. You need a love and a routine. You got to put the work in. Everyone says, it's all about hard work, but it really is. The 10,000 hours, I think, to master a craft. Is that it? Pretty sure that's the number. It's 10,000 hours to master a craft of whatever you're doing. So, if you're a young kid and you're 14 and do the math. How much are you spending a day? Times that by how many days in the year, and you want to become a professional. You got to be hitting that 10,000 mark closer to your 20s, right? So that's what it's all about. And I think put time, and also the other thing, our society, I think that is taboo is failure. I think failure is a huge key ingredient to success. Most people, I don't know exactly your previous business journeys or how you came to what you're doing today, but like you have to fail. Fail is the most honest, brutal way to figure out what you've done wrong. Your friends and family aren't going to tell you. Like, so if you do something wrong, they're going to tell you politically correct way, or they're scared to hurt your feelings. When you fail and business goes under, you don't make a team, you get cut from the team, you fail a diploma. That's it. It's brutal. Like, there's no be all and end all. But the smart people won't pout about that for 3 years and feel sorry for themselves and become a victim. Have a week where you might have a few too many drinks and you're mad at the world, and get out a whiteboard and be like, okay, this is what I did and what do I need to do better to fix that? And a lot of the successful people in life have failed. Right? I think we should really embrace fail. Now there's a difference. If you're failing, doing it again, failing, doing it again, there's an issue there. Like you're doing the same thing over and over and get the same result. There's obviously a big underlying issue, but I think on the general consensus, like that failure is taboo, I think we need to embrace that a little bit more just because it's a really, really brutal learning curve for people.
And I think that's so important, and it's such an important lesson for kids, and why sport is so important for kids, because it's a safe place for them to fail. You play your team, you do your best, you lose. All right, well, what do I learn from this? How can I improve next time?
Yeah, and I'm going through it with my son. He's playing soccer at the moment, and I'm not worried about goals scored. All I care about is effort. And kids look at goals scored. If they've played well, that's what they got. I played well, I scored goals, right? So he's playing soccer, and he's a bigger kid, so it took him a while to catch up to the speed and the footwork of the smaller, more stockier kids, which is great. But I put him in that for that very reason. And there's a few games where he wasn't getting the ball passed to him. Kids are a little selfish at that age, which is normal. They lose, and he's tearing up. And one game he basically somewhat quit. He struggled for the last 15 minutes of the game and didn't want to be out there. And I didn't let him play the next weekend, just let him train. Didn't let him play in a big carnival that he was looking forward to. Unfortunately, it was the hardest thing I did as a parent. I said, you're not playing in the carnival. You need to fix this. And then we came back to training and doing a one-on-one drill, and he kicked the goal, and it hit in the training drill, it hit the left post and the right post. The VAR would have let it be a goal, but the coach was like, no goal. And I could see him, getting teary-eyed and about to shut down. And I just yelled, you're up, and keep your head up. He came out of the drill, and then by the time he got to the front of the line again, he calmed himself, and that was the proudest thing I've ever done. I didn't care about the goal. I didn't care about everything else. He self-regulated himself as a 6-year-old, got back in the drill and actually scored a goal. So I was like, man, I was so happy with that more than anything else, because I think it's very important. And he's used that failure, the carnival and all that kind of stuff, and figured out, okay, I've had a bad minute. I'm not going to let this turn into a bad 5 minutes, into a bad day, into 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So I'm a constant battle with that with my kids. And I think it's a very important lesson. They have to learn no, they have to learn failure, they have to learn missing, they have to learn being subbed out, they have to learn a coach not liking them, they have to learn how a teacher doesn't like them sometimes. That's life. You have to deal with that. So if you can get that to them in an early age, Dana White, I don't know if you saw his interview from a little while ago, he said the kids that are brought up in that sense to be a little bit tougher and gritty, they're going to absolutely own the next generation once they're adults, because it's going to be very many of those kids.